RKB 106.9 FM, la ràdio que t'envolta. 106.9 FM. 106.9 FM.
It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll go outside for a while and just smile. Just taking some clean, fresh air. For no sense in staying inside. If the weather's fine and you got the time, it's your chance to wake up and plan another brand new day.
Good morning, Barcelona. Welcome to Thursday on English Radio on RKB 106.9 FM. I'm Virgil, still and always, and I welcome you to the summer post-COVID, new normal life, as we know it, as we're discovering it. But so many of us are wondering about whether our job contracts will be extended or offered. Will our rent be increased? Whether our kids will be safe in school? Will we ever have the lives we once had? Well, just think if we were in a situation where we're concerned about whether we would be able to sleep on the street at night. That's the reality for so many of our fellow neighbors here who are homeless. So joining us today to talk about this issue is an old friend and former guest, Andrew Funk, who's the founder and CEO of The Homeless Entrepreneur, and our other guest, Bob Grant, one of the homeless entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew, you've been a strong advocate on behalf of the homeless for a long time. What was your motivation in doing it?
Well, I think many times people have to deal with their own issues, so I found myself in a homeless situation. And it was because we raised money. My first son was about to be born, who's actually here, Alan. And the business didn't go as planned because the money was misspent on salaries. And then that caused stress at home. And so that turned into a nightmare. So the dream turned into the nightmare, and then I had to turn the nightmare back into a dream. And so I had to solve my own situation. And then from there, I wanted to help other people. So I think when it hits home, you can relate to the issue. Also, when you work with people that are in that situation, similar, it's never the same, but there's respect there too, because you've gone through something similar. And that creates a bond that can help those that are willing and able to participate have an opportunity to be who they are. No, because the street itself brings the best out of you, so you can survive, but sometimes you need other support as well, so that way you can be yourself.
Because the street also takes a lot out of you, too.
It's time-consuming. It's very time-consuming, and at least, I used to sleep at least 1 to 5 nights a month for 3.5 years, and that stopped because of COVID. And, there's still, I keep the window open at home because I miss that to a certain extent, because it's being connected with people we're working with. And there's this constant hum. If anyone has ever slept in the street, they know that constant hum, the people working, the cleaners in the street, but it never goes away. And I think that's something that causes a lot of stress on someone's life. It also shows you too, I believe, and this is something I think Bob will be able to explain too, what you need and what you don't need. And Absolutely. I think there are a lot of things that we have that we don't necessarily need, and until we lose certain things, we value other things that we have that we probably forgot about.
It takes you an appreciation of what life is really all about and the things that are important.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, you're an artist, again, from back home in New York City, and you came to Barcelona, as many of us do, pursuing love and looking at...
No. Well, I suppose you could say that. I came here about 16 years ago because my son was here. My ex-wife had taken him here. And,
well, that's love.
And so it was love, definitely. And that first day I was ecstatic. And, I stop talking when I think about certain emotional issues. So I always loved Barcelona. My first visit was 26 years ago, and I think it's one of the most... I didn't want to leave. I've been living in New York, and I didn't want to go back. I said, wow, there's another way of life.
Absolutely.
And to this day, I'm still grateful. And I've been pursuing art since I was a kid, really. And it's just my passion, you know. I love literature and the arts and music, and I feel very fortunate that I've survived. It's an extremely insecure way of living, and it got really insecure for me in the last couple of years. And I mean, absolutely. So I've become a bit of a pro at living with this uncertainty that's new to so many people.
But as an artist, you had to live with uncertainty anyway.
Thank you. Yes. And so it's, yeah. If I know about anything, it's about uncertainty.
Right.
And now I'm quite comfortable with suspense and uncertainty because it's the fact of life. We never really knew what was going to happen.
Right.
We wanted to believe them, and we did believe them. In fact, we still believe them. But I think we have to just, stop thinking so much and start looking and listening and understanding ourselves, And I think art's a vehicle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be back to talk to our guests in greater depth right after this.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go?
And that was Eric Clapton with a song commemorating the legendary guitarist Robert Johnson with Sweet Home Chicago. Now, Andrew, so many government agencies and or social organizations look to help people without homes by providing shelter or necessary services like showers or laundry.
Yeah.
How did you decide on entrepreneurship as a solution?
Because it was the solution that worked for me. I mean, if you know anyone that's been in a homeless situation, keep in mind there are 12 different types of homelessness, and that homelessness is something Bob will explain for sure as well. Someone's not a homeless person; they're in a homeless situation. It doesn't define them. It's their housing situation. So I really think that when you talk, what's the question again? Sorry.
No, how did you decide on entrepreneurship?
Okay, entrepreneurship. Sorry, my brain went off on that one. The entrepreneurship thing is people need to work. Because otherwise, if you give someone a home, but you don't give them the tools and resources and opportunities to work, then they'll never be independent. And I mean, we have a social hostel called Sweet HE, and we were able to provide a place for 19 people. From there, if we don't help provide opportunities, I mean, Bob, for example, did an auction with one of his paintings, which was really cool. And if we don't give people that opportunity to work, then they're just going to be dependent on our system. And that's not the idea. It's not about assistance. It's about empowering people economically and giving them the opportunity to be themselves.
Well, it's the old biblical saying, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
And if you teach them the business of fishing and the industry, then they can become independent. They can help other people as well. So I asked myself, what worked for me? If someone would have just given me a roof, which is something that happened during a year and a half. So I got roofing, but that doesn't help me become happier, and it doesn't help me take care of my family, and it doesn't help me grow as a person. So I really think that work is quite important because it gives you meaning, and also it's more about, not in Spanish it's reinserción laboral, so it's about placement, but people aren't, they aren't screws. So if you put them in a place, if you have Bob doing paperwork as an administrative assistant, he's probably going to think, I could paint on this paper and do something better with it. So I think everybody needs to find a way that they can contribute to society within their means, and we try to help them find their place, and that also helps volunteers. It's important to get people to understand that many volunteers are pretty clueless about how to help.
Right.
And they do what they know how to do, which is many times food, clothing, etc. But there are so many other things that have to be resolved, and we try to help people become active, contributing citizens.
But now, entrepreneurship is not an easily learned talent. I mean, I'm assuming you've had failures as well as successes along the way.
Yeah.
How did you develop the business model for each person?
The business model for each person, first of all, is understanding and listening. You have to, every person has their own life goal, if you will. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's being able to turn your life around, right? And so that means it could be going from nothing or very little to being an employee again, being having your own art business. It really depends on what the person wants to do, but it's rediscovering who that person is and what they want to do. But the model it's inclusive. So, for example, in order for us to understand Bob and what he wants to do, he has to take his own steps, and then from there we grow together. There are things that he learns about us as an organization, we learn about him as a person, and we build it together. And then we have many volunteers that support that. So it's really an organic process of building a life plan instead of a business plan. And in that life plan, part of it's personal and other it's professional.
Now, Bob, I wouldn't necessarily call you an entrepreneur, but as an artist, you had your vision of what you wanted to produce. You had to engage the system to get it out to the public.
Yeah.
You had to deal with the galleries in New York and the museums and all the rest of it and all of the dealers. How have you utilized some of those lessons in your current situation? In terms of being able to be an independent artist, say, in New York, how have you learned how to be able to take those skills you learned there and apply them to this situation?
Well, everything's material for me. I observe every day. I write every day. I do drawings every day. I've been doing it, I kind of take whatever context I'm in and turn it into, I write about it. And so I use it as an opportunity, as an experience. And it's obviously, I hope it's obvious that you wouldn't want to run out of money and not being able to pay your rent and having nowhere to go. You're in a foreign country, well, foreign to me, where I don't have all the connections I would have back at home, and that's another thing. But what it gave me in New York, and even I've had years here where I was having exhibits, running things and stuff like that, and I taught a drawing class and whatever, resident artist, But I mean, ideally, I used to like to just either be in a gallery or fill up a cafe. I knew my context. I did my work. I enjoyed that. And then now I'm on the internet thanks to getting involved with the homeless entrepreneur. I have trouble pronouncing that. And
imagine all the Spanish people.
You're right.
they struggle. Yeah. I'm doing something that I've been avoiding also by getting on the internet and allowing somebody to help me. And it's a convenient timing considering there's really not many outlets going on. So many places are still shut down, and it's good. It's a good. I see it all as an opportunity. And when you go any extended period of time without money or a home, it's to me the worst part about that is it's extremely tiring. You have the motivation. Obviously, you don't want to be living like that. I'm not a drinker, so I wasn't like hanging around drinking beer kind of experience for me. And what I did discover is kindness. It sounds cliche and sentimental, but it's true. I was amazed that just out of the blue, serendipitously, somebody would just give you a break that you needed. And I managed to get through my days generally enjoying myself. In fact, I felt like I was enjoying myself more than the people around me, and I wasn't supposed to be. And so this opportunity I had with the homeless entrepreneur, it was a last-minute thing. I thought I had a place to crash. I thought it would last a week or two anyway in my mind. And then everything just shut down, and it kind of saved my life, so to speak. And the story for me is just all these way people helped me. They took risks to help me, and I always felt like, okay, they respect me, and that's how we respect each other, and that was the most important thing to me. I didn't want to. I never played the victim because I'm not a victim. Right. And when I told the dean of my school I didn't want to be an illustrator, I wanted to be a fine artist, for lack of any other term, totally free, and to pursue everything I wanted to pursue. And he said, well, are you, and this was a guy that you would consider successful. And he said, are you independently wealthy? And I said, no. He goes, well, you realize most artists don't make any money. This is the dean of the art school. Right. And I said, yes, that's what I've been reading about. That's what I hear. That's true. But I want to do it. And there are people that have made money doing it. And I did it. And I don't regret it. But it's, like I say, it's just extremely insecure. And I really had to live with that. I hate the word homeless. It's just like another... Who is this homeless? Now it's, it could be anybody, but people don't believe that.
No, and I think we're seeing that in the States right now.
Right. I think it's a big learning experience. And maybe if the whole consciousness and psychology of people is totally mutated, humanity has a chance. And I never go either direction. I pretty much stay with, I don't know what's going to happen.
No one does.
Which is a good one. We'll be back to talk more with Andrew and Bob right after this.
I seen myself with a dirty face. I cut my luck with a dirty ace. I leave the light on. I leave the light on. I went from 0 to -10. I drank your wine and I stole your man. I leave the light on. I leave that light on. is rough. I ain't that scarred when I'm covered up. I leave the light on. Yeah, I leave that light on. Little girl hiding underneath the bed. Was it something I did? Must be something I said. I leave the light on. I better leave the light on. 'Cause I wanna love and I wanna live. Yeah, I don't know much about it, and I never did, no. 17 and I'm all messed up inside. I cut myself just to feel alive. I leave the light on. I leave the light on. 21 on the run, on the run, on the run from myself and everyone. I leave the light on. Better leave the light on. 'Cause I wanna love and I wanna live. Yeah, I don't know much about it, and I never did. I don't know what to do. Can the damage be undone? I swore to God I'd never be what I've become. Lucky stars and fairy tales. I'm gonna bathe myself in a wishing well. Pretty scars from cigarettes I never will forget. I never will forget. I'm still afraid to be alone. Wish that the moon would follow me home. I'll leave that light on. Yeah, I'll leave that light on. And I ain't that bad, I'm just messed up. I ain't that sad, but I'm sad enough. 'Cause I wanna love, I wanna live. No, I don't know much about it, and I never did. I don't know what to do. Can the damage be undone? I swore to God that I'd never be what I become. I leave that light, I leave that light, I leave that light on. God bless a child with a dirty face who cuts her luck with a dirty ace. She leaves the light on. I leave that light on.
And that was Beth Hart with Leave the Light On. Now, Andrew, your stated mission is to promote economic empowerment and poverty reduction via work and active citizenship.
Exactly.
So people living in social exclusion can improve their quality of life. Now, what are some of the things you've been doing to make that happen?
One of the big things is helping people be themselves, right? Which is asking what they need and what they want to do, and then building solutions together. So it's dealing with partners. For example, IBM is providing support through a skills build program, which is they've identified what companies need, and so they're providing training specifically for that. IEBS is a digital business school that's providing training for them as well, and the people that are receiving this training are advancing and getting jobs and improving their life. So it's network. With the help program we have, which is run by Juan Carlos Viniegra, we have 9 managers, so professional development, health, housing, education, legal, finance, communication, sales, and a mentor. So it's all about understanding what each person needs and then getting the right team of people together and volunteers to make it happen. So it's like kind of creating like a sales task force, if you will, and then all the other resources they need so that way they can focus on working.
Well, as we say in healthcare, we have targeted medicine and precision medicine that's customized to the individual patient. So what you're doing the same thing is that helping these people on an individualized basis to get what they need specifically.
Yes.
To be able to do it.
Yeah, it's a holistic solution. focused on individuals. And then as you do that and we help more people, we have different typologies so we can understand, because maybe we've worked with another artist before, maybe we've worked with another person in construction, maybe we've worked with another person that was an office assistant. So as you grow, you have more data, you have more information, and then you also have a stronger network of organizations that trust you. For example, Sosmatic has hired two homeless entrepreneurs. One that's been there for over 2 years, another one that just started. So I'm building the trust of companies that are willing to bet on the workforce that we create, and also giving the support to the homeless entrepreneurs in the group that also trust us and what we do. So it's working together. So that way, when I say, "Hey, Bob, we're going to go to a radio program," he's like, "Who is it? Where is it? Where?" You know. So he sees the value in it, and he comes because no one forces anyone to do anything. We open up doors. You have opportunities, and if you go through them, then you're going to meet more people. And this is common sense. You have 3 Americans in the same room. We'll have a good conversation. And
flag.
yeah,
Right.
I had to wear the American
Right,
shirt.
absolutely.
But I just think it's about bringing people together that are willing and able to participate, and then getting everyone to do something simple that makes them happy. It's about contributing.
Well, I think it's great because, again, on the website, Bob, you talk about your dream, which is being able to provide the world with a complete vision through which people see their heart, and not only with the eyes.
I'm sure I meant that at the time, and I still do. But you know, I have different. I came up with all.
You've evolved since then, is what you're saying? No.
Every day, I have these notepads, and I only keep the last 2. The rest kind of just get discarded. I take out whatever might have made some sense. But yeah, you know, I just feel like. All right. Yesterday, I saw a friend, and he's an actor, and they're making movies, and everybody. And then when this hit, and then they're having trouble with the rent and all the insecurity and everything, they're going. Now they say Bob was right, and then they're picking up their paints because they had painted before. Now they think it's time to get back. So I think I'm fortunate. I think it is a therapeutic thing that I do, this painting process. And I don't know where did that. I'm kind of taking
dreams.
No.
Oh, dreams! I was dreaming. I just hope. I just dream the world gets better, and I think we need creativity. And I do think certain artists, I think everybody's got it in them, but everybody wants to share their aspirations and what they do. And but there's certain individuals who just do sacrifice the security and do continue on. And I may not be the most talented painter in the world or the smartest guy, but I have, you know, tried to be as honest and progress as fast
And you
as
feel
I
fulfilled.
can. Huh?
You feel fulfilled.
Oh, I'm amazed. I'm so happy to be alive. I still have an opportunity in front of me. It's not hopeless. And I'm not a doomsday guy. You know, we don't know what's going to happen.
No.
There could be some changes for the better for all I know. You just can't go on destroying the planet.
No, I think not. I think the things we were looking at the arts, though, particularly here and in the States, you know, as a result of the COVID thing, you know, museums have shut down, theaters have shut down, galleries have shut down. You know, the Met is opening up in, I think, 2 weeks again. But, you know, everything now, people are afraid to go to museums, they're afraid to go to galleries, they're afraid to be together.
I know.
And the thing is that what I fear is that this disassociation, you know, this
Well,
is
I believe
becoming
in actuality, and the cell phone's a wonderful thing, and all the medias. But the joy I get is going to a cafe, walking down the street, seeing somebody I know, having a conversation with a real person.
Absolutely.
And I think if it's possible, if one gallery is open, I was organizing a show before this happened, believe it or not, and I wanted other people's work. I didn't have the energy to fill up a room, I don't think, at this point. But, you know, and it can happen. It can still you can keep it going. You can have a show and somehow, I don't know, but I do think you need to see the real thing. Live music, everything, you know. I think it's just something we cannot survive without.
I agree. Now, Andrew, one of the things you're doing with your homeless helpline program
Yeah.
is collecting data, which is really important in everything we do.
Yeah. The homeless helpline basically came out as a common sense solution during the beginning of COVID, which was how do you help people? And I was like, well, how do you help someone if you don't know who they are? And right now, I don't know, I can't show the number there, but there's a phone call, and it's, I don't know who's calling me, but I'm pretty sure that's the homeless helpline.
Right.
And because when I get a phone call from someone I don't know, it's normally that. And really, the thing is, I thought, well, that's how Bob got to know us, because someone in his network called us, and they said, there's this guy we know who's in a homeless situation, and he needs a lot of help, so that way he doesn't end up in the street during the coronavirus. And everyone that entered the hostels, because the homeless hotline. And the homeless helpline really is simple. I was like, okay, what do I do? A telephone number, I'll use mine. I'll create a picture with a graphic designer. I'll shoot it out there and see what happens. And Congress took it, they shared it. The National Police in Valencia were sharing the number as well. We have people calling us from Virgin Islands. We have people. It's true. We have people calling from Peru, from Nigeria. There's a guy named Michael that's sharing it. A Peruvian that was stuck in Germany. We were able to help him connect with the embassy, so that way he could fly back to Peru. So really, it's just something as simple as, hey, people need to speak to someone, and then we can understand their stories, and then that evolved into the Homeless Voices program, which is giving them communication support and also audiovisual support. So they send us a video. It's designed, there's a structure to it. They can do 16 videos in a year with us. We explain how to do it. They send us the video, because they can do it with the phone, or volunteer can send it. And then we share that online and with our community. And we actually have a 50% success rate with those that send videos. So when someone sends a video, and we share it in our network, there's a 50% chance that they will connect with resources that will help improve their life. So this is something that we came up with. We're looking for partners and support, so that way we can make it grow even stronger. But a homeless helpline is really simple. Someone that wants to call us, it's 697-877-089. And really what you're going to see is people need to speak to someone, and then we understand really their situation, and we can connect them to our community, or we can introduce them to the Homeless Voices program. But I don't understand how that does not exist. Some people started copying us afterwards, which is cool, because if you do something, they copy. But when someone copies something like art without soul, it doesn't last.
No.
So we pushed this in European Parliament. When we spoke as well, we presented this as one of the programs. And I really believe that we need to know who is in a homeless situation, what they need, and when we have that data, then we can connect them. And it's, for me, it's the first step that we take with our community, because if someone wants to enter the program, they have to call that phone line and make the first step, because it's all about contributing. And if someone's not willing to pick up a phone and spend 20 cents on a phone call, or ask a friend if they can use their phone, they're not going to follow a program, and they're not going to make other changes.
Well, you're listening to English Radio Thursday here on Radio Canal Barcelona, 106.9 FM. We'll be back to talk more with our guests right after this.
Home for the holidays, I believe I've missed each and every face. Come on and play one easy. Let's turn on every love light in the place. It's time I found myself totally surrounded in your circles. Oh, my friends, please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please celebrate me home. Play me one more song that I'll always remember, that I can recall whenever I find myself too all alone. I can sing me home. traveling where the westerly winds can fly. Somebody tried to tell me, but the man forgot to tell me why. I gotta count on being gone. Come on, mama, come on, daddy, be what you want from me. Yeah. I'm this strong. I'll be weak. Please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please celebrate me home. Play me one more song that I'll always remember. I can recall whenever I find myself all alone. I can make believe I've never gone, then I'll never know where I belong. Sing me home, celebrate me home. Give me a number, please celebrate me home. Anyone know I'm sorry now.
And that was Kenny Loggins with Celebrate Me Home. Now, Andrew, you got several programs you developed for the homeless. We've talked a little bit about the helpline, and we've talked a little bit also about the help program. What are some of the other things you're doing?
Well, the main programs we have, like I said, are the Homeless Helpline, the Homeless Voices, the Help Program, and then the Homeless Hostels Work Program as well. One thing that I think would be interesting to mention would be the programs we have with companies and donors. We have a club that we're starting called the 1% Club, in which business owners that would like to dedicate 1% of their benefits to help our program can do that. And then also some sponsors that we have like Invoice Ninja and IEBS. They donate economic resources, but they also donate support in services and products as well, and opportunities. And what we do is we work with the CSR programs, the corporate social responsibility ones, like with Coca-Cola, IBM, Foundation Telefonica, and we try to figure out how we can add value to their volunteer team, and by giving them projects that they're interested and excited about. And we also try to make sure that when they donate to us, we do specific social actions with them. So we're participating by communication, marketing in that sense to add value, because when someone donates to our organization, what they're really doing is they're investing in their community. And we're getting people to understand that when you participate with us as a volunteer, you're learning. As a company, you're learning. And education is one of the most important things in society, and that goes towards prevention. One of the greatest things that I think is educating our kids. Like my son here, even though he's a bit tired. Everyone, say hello, Alan. Say hi.
Hi.
Here, say hi. Can you say hi? He said hi.
He said he did, right?
Yeah, so he's doing well. But the thing is, getting our kids to understand what homelessness is. We do events with other organizations as well.
Great.
And one was a Mother's Day card. A Mother's Day card with kids from 5 to 12 years old using cardboard. And we explained homelessness. So it wasn't even going too far in depth about it, but it was explaining the situation, one of the people in the program, and then material. So they used the material in an artistic way to think about it, and then to do something that was related to home about them. And that stuff gives me chills because at the end of the day, it's really about awareness and getting people to be involved however they can.
And reaching people at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
At the community level. I think this is fantastic. Now, one of the things is in looking at your website, many of the voices and the photos of the entrepreneurs you've created, I'm struck by the fact that the vast majority are men. Are women not usually homeless? I mean, Bob, you've been on the streets. I mean, what's the ratio of men to women out on the streets?
I don't really know, but there's many women on the streets. I've been fortunate where I was able to somehow. It wasn't quite as harsh as it could have been for me, because I have a nice community of friends, and I got lucky. But I observe anyways all the time, and what I've observed is the growth in population is amazing.
I mean, the numbers of people on the street.
It's really amazing, and when you're out there, one of the worst things, is if you fall asleep, and if you're so tired sometimes, if you don't have a home, you have to kill time, you can fall asleep anywhere, and there's thieves, and they sneak up on you, and they try to steal whatever you might have. And so you're never really relaxed. It's really a very uncomfortable place to be.
It's a war mentality. The same kind of thing we had when I was back in the service. We were there. You couldn't totally relax.
No,
you had to stay vigilant the whole time.
The enemy might be right behind the bush.
When I open, and also waking up, and also regarding stats, approximately, depending on where you go on the stats, approximately 85%. Are men and 15% women. So men are overrepresented in that regard, but it's also because women are overly protected, if you will. I don't know if that's the right adjective to put in front, but they're more protected by society and government. So if the government has to put someone out in the street, it will be the man before the wife and kids every single time. So children are protected until 18, then they become homeless. Women are protected much more by society, and even if that woman, I've seen this many times, even if a woman would rob you blind, the first reaction is, if I have to let a person that's homeless into my home, a man or a woman, I think most of the time people would choose a woman over a man in that regard, because they feel less danger, if you will. I don't know the right word there, but
less threatened.
Less threatened, sorry. So men are thought to be able to protect themselves by themselves, so they receive less support. And that's my personal understanding of why there are more men in the street than women. And sometimes men, a lot of men choose to say, I prefer to be in this situation than at home. And so also I think probably women take care of their network better than men in that regard. I'm making a lot of general statements here, but we're talking about the general population, and there are definitely way more men in the street than women, and the women tend to hide more than men. What's your opinion, Bob?
Everything you said made sense to me. And I observe people. I do a lot of wandering around, and I noticed with a couple of women have just come to my mind. These might be fairly attractive, healthy-looking people the first time you see them in that situation where they're, often there's alcohol involved, but it's not always that. But how quickly they deteriorate, unrecognizable in such a short span of time. And the young people I'll see, and this is not, I was surviving up to not too long ago, so, but I was still watching, and I just the young people who have some bad luck the sweetest people when you meet them. And about a year later, after just living in that lifestyle, they're transformed. It really has
it's a mental
severe
and physical
effect on people.
deterioration. There's no question about it.
And I'd just add one thing quickly is that many times the women that I've seen in the street have severe mental health issues. That means that they've gone through, you have to go through so many more networks, if you will. So you have to fall and be saved and fall and be saved. And man can just fall from like the 10th floor. But women tend to be, protected on the 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th. So by the time they're in the street, they have burnt so much of their network and there's so many issues. Physically, like Bob said, they may look like everything's okay, but inside, there's so many things that they're trying to overcome that it's hard. And I think that's why there are less women in the street, and also when they are there, they're in a much more severe situation.
They don't. It's worse for a woman. I mean, they're so vulnerable. It's really.
Anywhere from being on your period.
We just it's just like the homeless, and just.
Yeah,
you just can't categorize somebody and
generalize.
shuffle them aside.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very serious thing.
We'll be back with some closing comments right after this.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, And I've been keeping all the letters that I wrote to you, each one a line or two. I'm fine, baby, how are you? Well, I would send them, but I know that it's just not enough. My words were cold and flat, and you deserve more than that. Another airplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky, I know, but I wanna go home. I got to go home. Let me go home. I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. And I feel just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. That this was not your dream, but you always believed in me. Another winter day has come and gone away in either Paris or Rome, and I wanna go home. Let me go home. And I'm surrounded by a million people. I still feel alone. Let me go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. I've had my run, baby, I'm done. I gotta go home. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
And that was Michael Bublé with Home. Now, Andrew, if our listeners want to get more information about the organization and maybe how they can get involved, where can they find it?
The webpage, homelessentrepreneur.org. And if you're Spanish, it's emprendedores sin hogar. But it's Homeless Entrepreneur, and my telephone number, +34 697 877 089. Contacting me in social media. If you don't find me, it's because you're not looking. Andrew Funk. I try to be as visible as possible. That has its advantages and disadvantages, but I do believe that everyone that's interested in learning about what we're doing is worth having at least one coffee. Maybe it's a café con leche, maybe it's a cortado, but the thing is, we listen to everyone. Anyone that takes the effort or makes the effort to communicate with us, we listen to and see what we can do. So just contact Homeless Entrepreneur and myself, and we would love to see how we can collaborate to end homelessness in Barcelona, because it is possible.
Now, with any endeavor, it's necessary to quantify success. And what are your measures of impact and sustainability?
I mean, on a personal level, I'd say the main KPI would be the size of the smile of the person we're helping and how long it lasts. If you look at it from another sense, we have different levels of housing, we have different levels of professional development, of health, of legal, financial situations. So as people improve their situation, for me, every step forward is success. And that goes with anyone in life, because it's about going forward and backwards and learning and progressing. So, having Bob come here and share his opinion is success. Having the hostel open for 5.5 months is success. From there are things that we have to learn from to improve. But success is really just being conscious and thinking about how to improve, learning from our mistakes and improving. So everyone has their own definition, but you can't end homelessness because at the end of the day, people can go back in that situation, but you can improve the situation so you can prevent it from happening, taking longer, so you can improve the situation.
As you talked about further, dropping down as much as they might have dropped before.
Yeah.
Maybe lesser incremental steps, but providing somewhat of a safety net so they can at least clean.
Trampoline. I call it a trampoline.
That's a good illusion. It's a good illusion. Well, we're really glad you guys came today. I really appreciate it, and good to see you again. And that's it for today. We're going to leave you with a song that's really our wish for everyone living on the street. Art Pepper says it. You'd be nice to come home to. Have a great one, Barcelona. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.